Oh, fifth graders. I have been having some technical difficulties here. I'm so glad things seem to be working now. Let's go for this. We're going to be working on Module 10, Lesson 3. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see what we're working on here. All right. Lesson 3. It's taking us a couple of days to finish, but that's all right. We are working on representing division of unit fractions by whole numbers. And if you remember the first part of our lesson, we were doing a lot of coming up with our own situations to go along with an expression. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't think it was my favorite thing to do, but it turned out not to be so bad. So let's see what's happening here. It says the load of dirt is going to be divided into 10 containers. So we're using this picture to help us. Raj says each container will have 5 tons of dirt. What error did Raj make? He said each container will have 5 tons of dirt. How much are we working with here? If we have a half a ton of dirt, can each container hold 5 tons of dirt? Raj's answer is not very reasonable. It seems that Raj may have done, instead of using that 1/2 the right way, it looks like he did 10 containers times 1/2, which would give us 10 halves, which would equal 5. And we know that is incorrect. 5 tons is way more than we have. So it seems he multiplied instead of, he is taking 1/2 and dividing that into the 10 containers, right? So if he did that, we would solve. We know our saying, keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody's gonna know how we're dividing fractions. When we do that, does it make more sense to say he's going to get 1/20th of a ton of dirt? 1/20th. If you remember in class, we talked about how would we compare our dividend to our quotient. So if we started with 1/2, our quotient would have to be less than 1/2, right? Because we're dividing it up. We're taking that half a ton of dirt and we're splitting it into 10 containers. So our dividend has to be greater than our quotient. And obviously Raj didn't pay attention to that, right? Okay, so hopefully you recognized that and know what was happening. Now it says write a word problem that can be modeled by the expression, then draw the visual model. So you can write anything you want for these as long as it is that in your situation you have 1/4 of something. So I might say Mrs. Alexander had 1/4 of a pizza, right? She shared it equally, that's one of our important words, among 6 students. I almost said 4, among 6 students. And then if you remember our question, how much of the whole pizza do the students get? So that's just one example, right? Yours could be anything. You have 1/4 of something and it's being shared equally among 6 somethings. So it also wants a model. So I'm going to do the model for number 2 up here. Label it just like I would if I were doing this in class or on a test. Number 2, here's our model. I'm going to use this bar model to represent the whole pizza. Now, I only have 1/4 of the pizza. So I'm going to first divide this into 4ths. I only have 1/4 of the pizza. I'm sharing it with 6 students. Now, I'm going to do things a little differently. Normally, we would go and make 6 lines going down as I did. But because this is so small, I'm going to go across this time. It's going to give us the same answer, but I can go across So I have 6 students. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then maybe with my dotted lines, remember, even though we're not working with the rest of the pizza, we would want to imagine that it's all being divided equally into those parts. And then I can look and I can see easier. My lines this way might have been too skinny. If you did lines that way, that's perfectly fine. We're going to get the same answer because then each student, each of these spaces equals how much of the whole pizza. There are 6. If we're talking about the whole pizza, that would be 24ths. So each of those spaces is 1/24. How much do the students get? They each get 1/24 of a piece, we could say, of the piece. All right, or of the pizza. I'm going to change that. I was looking back at my situation that I wrote. They would get 1/24 of the pizza. So whatever your situation was that you wrote out, you would still get 1/24 as your quotient. We're still going to get the same answer no matter what our different situations might be, right? All right, so let's see about this one. 1/6 divided by 5. Again, we could do just about anything. We have 1/6 of. Let's see. Mr. Tullis, I'm going to put Mr. T, used 1/6 of a bag of berries to make a smoothie. Actually, I need to make it not just a smoothie, right? To make 5 smoothies. All right. And then my question is, how much of the bag, of the whole bag, right, does Mr. Tullis use for each smoothie? So same thing, I'm going to do my model down here this time. Here is the bag of berries Mr. Tullis is using. He's only got 1/6 of it. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, give myself some more room so it doesn't get too squishy. He's got 1/6 of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He is making 5 smoothies. So he's going to equally share this 1/6 into 5 smoothies. I'll go the way we've been going in class. We've been doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then each of these would be into fifths. Ooh, it's going to get squishy. You know what's happening though, right? This is what we've been doing in class. All of these, we would imagine, divided into the same parts. Oh, it's getting really squishy. These are all divided into 5 parts. If we're looking at that 1/6, each of these pieces is how much of the entire bag. It's going to be 1 out of 30 now, since I know those are each 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So how much of the bag does he use for each smoothie? He's using 1/30 of the bag. All right, so no matter what your situation was, you're still doing 1/30 of the bag, right? Okay. Sorry about that. We're calling for people to get picked up. Time to go home. All right. Another one, write a word problem that can be modeled by the expression 1/3 divided by 3, then draw the model and solve. So again, anything. You have, somebody has 1/3 of something, whatever you want to write out, you can make this one up. They are going to divide that 1/3 into 3 somethings, right? So if I do my model over here, if we have 1/3 of whatever you wrote out in your situation, and if you are working with me, pause and write out your situation, make something up here. But if we have 1/3 of that, and I'm going to go this way again just to demonstrate, we're dividing it into 3. I have this 1/3, I'm going to divide it into 3. And of course, I'm going to go all the way for the entire whatever year is in your situation. So if I have 1/3 divided by 3, how much do I have of this whole thing that's in your situation? Each of these spaces is going to equal 1/9. So in your situation, whatever your question was, your equation and your answer, your quotient would be 1/9. All right, good. Not so bad with that. This was a little bit trickier, reading a model that's already made for us. So what we would do here is think about, we always start with a bar model, and then we always, our dividend is, what are we working with? So here you can see we're working with 1/4. So I'm looking, there's only one that starts that way with that dividend. And that 1/4 has been divided into 3 parts. So that would be C. Hopefully you would have recognized 3 divided by 4. We're not working with whole numbers here. We took a whole and we've divided it into parts. So again, we took that model. It was originally divided into 4 parts, and we're looking at the 1/4, and that 1/4 was divided into 3 parts. How would we write this division equation? Let's think about it again. Here's our whole model, our whole bar. It's been divided into how many parts? We have 3 parts, and we're working in this 1/3, and working in that 1/3, and that 1/3 was divided into how many parts? That 1/3's been divided into 3 parts. 1/3 divided by 3, our model shows 1/9. And when I look, if I think keep, change, flip, it would also equal 1/9 right there. We just have to kind of train our brains to see it a little bit differently, looking at when we have the model and we have to assess or evaluate that model. Write a word problem that can be represented by the expression 1/5 divided by 4. Then draw a visual model and solve your problem. I'm going to have you create the situation, and if you want to add your situation into the comments of our Google Classroom, then other people can see what you came up with. Think about, you have 1/5 of what? I'm going to say I have 1/5 of an hour. So let's see. Mrs. Haven spent 1/5 of an hour reading 4 science tests. Can I say it that way? So she's taking 1/5. Here's my 4. So now my question might be, what fraction of the hour did she spend on each test, right? What fraction of the hour did she spend reading each test? Maybe I should have used grading. So this, I made this situation a little bit different than what we've been doing. That's all right. Here is the hour Mrs. Haven was working. She spent 1/5. So I'm dividing that hour into fifths. One of those fifths, 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, I'm going across horizontally just to show you the difference, because the models we were reading were going that way. Now, if you want to see it, here's the hour, and it was divided into fifths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are working on this 1 hour, and she did 4. These are showing the same things, but you can see when I go horizontally, like I did on the first model, it's a little bit easier to see. It doesn't get so squishy, but these are showing the same thing. So how much, what fraction of the hour did she spend on each test? Each of these individual boxes equals 1/20th. So she spent 1/20th of an hour on each. And if we needed an equation, it doesn't say to write one, but here's our expression, 1/5 divided by 4 equals 1/20. All right, that's our lesson. I hope it went well for you. Add that number 7, add your situation to our Google Classroom. Let's see what you came up with. For spiral review, I have 2/3 times 3/4. I'm just multiplying across. I could do 6/12. We've been talking about equivalent fractions and trying to recognize when we can simplify. I can see 6 and 12, and I know they can work together because they are both multiples of 6. So I can divide. 6 divided by 6 would be 1. 12 divided by 6 would be 2. I could rename that as 1/2. And let's evaluate here. We've got some order of operations going on. We've got some parentheses. So I'm going to solve the parentheses, and then I'm going to do the multiplying that's left, and we're going to get an answer of 70. That's all I've got for you for today. I hope it was good for you. Like I said, not too difficult, that you are understanding and enjoying writing your own situations and doing that model drawing. I am finding it more fun and interesting than I originally thought I would. I didn't think I would like writing out the situations. So hopefully you are enjoying it and doing well. Bring those questions to class if you have them. I'll see you next time.